So 2020 and 2021 has been kind of weird. It's been a moment where a lot of internet terms are not just being used by mainstream like political people or just your parents, etc., but it's literally being used in governmental bills and legislation. Like, we have people talking about slang terms as if they're just normal terms, and I don't know, maybe that's because I'm weird that I find this so strange. Maybe if you're slightly younger than me, this just seems like normal to you. But terms like cancel culture being used in multiple bills where the president is berating people about cancel culture, as in like saying like he's going to make legislation that somehow stops people from canceling people, is one of the most weirdest shit that I've ever seen. And I don't know, it feels weird, but cancel culture is something that is kind of annoying. It's kind of pretty prevalent right now. There's a lot of people who get canceled for no goddamn real reason. Like, there's two schools of thoughts on this, right? There's one school of thought where cancel culture doesn't actually fucking work, where if you look at a lot of the people who have been canceled, Keemstar, PewDiePie, Dream, I guess, in a certain sense, who else? The Pauls. You can pretty much think of anyone who's been like quote unquote canceled, and I'm looking at them, and I'm looking, and these motherfuckers are still millionaires, pulling like hundreds of millions of views and still getting the same kind of publicity. In fact, a lot of these comedians who are also quote unquote canceled are also still getting all these Netflix specials and whatnot. So it's like, does cancel culture even exist in a sense? Like, is it really more than just a hashtag of people like calling you mean names on the internet for like a couple of weeks and then bringing you up occasionally? Like, is it really more than that? But then you also see people who, you know, they lose their job, they lose their friends, they have to move, etc., all because of stuff. But typically when people are canceled, it's not just because they do some innocuous stuff where it actually manifests into being anything serious. Usually these come tied to sexual assault allegations, most likely, or some sort of other criminal allegations that are levied against them. Usually it's just sexual, though. That seems to be the prevalent one, which, yeah, again, I hate to say it, but a lot of people who are rich, famous, and powerful tend to abuse other people. It just seems to be a trend. Something about having X amount of zeros in your bank account and X amount of Twitter followers makes you just kind of an asshole. I'm not sure why it is, but it just seems to be a prerequisite to being famous. Whether it's YouTube famous, whether it's normal famous or movie famous or whatever, it just seems to happen. Well, males and females. But it is sometimes pretty toxic. There are plenty of people who deserve to be canceled because they're either actual Nazis, racists, or rapists, or some sort of other ist that I'm forgetting. And then there's people who have somewhat of a scuffle or kerfuffle that really shouldn't garner them the same kind of hate. People who slip up, like when they were young, they maybe said some racially charged spicy stuff, and now it's coming back when they're an adult, like 5 years, 10 years later, and it's being used to reflect on them now, even though they've had 10 years to grow. Now, that's not to say that sometimes people don't harbor those same views, or if it was more recent that they really did change or grow at all. But in some cases, yeah, sometimes people grow. If you go back in my content, or if you just were to talk to 2014, 2015 Moliminous here, I'd probably be a pretty alt-right person. I'd probably would be memeing it up pretty hard. Now, I don't think I ever was actually racist or anything like that, but my subscription feed resembled that of a school shooter or a mass shooter. And if yours resembles the same thing where you're subscribed to Sargon of Akkad, Thunderfoot, all these other, you know, alt-light people, you may want to take a second to reflect. If you have that in common with certain other people who have gone on to do some pretty heinous shit, it may be a sign that you need to make a change. But you know, if you were to talk to me back then and you were to apply today's, I guess, I don't know what to say, values to me, I'd be a pretty fucking horrible person, deserving of maybe at least scrutinizing. Now, I was a young kid. I was a literal little kiddo. But if you were to come and find stuff that I've said probably back then and try to apply it to me now, it wouldn't fit. But I guarantee if I was more popular, that would be used as some sort of means to cancel me, even though I'm exceptionally far left now. Because I've learned, I've grown as a person, but we don't seem to give people that ability anymore. A lot of the times that stuff that you've said in the past, and because we're on the internet never forgets. Those videos that you thought you deleted or privated, probably someone has them, and you know, they could come back to bite you at any time. Now, again, certain things are still deserving of canceling. Certain things that you say should be used against you. If you were doing some truly heinous shit, yes, that should come back to bite you, probably regardless of your age, but there should be some sort of point to it. If all we're doing is taking these people who have made mistakes and just destroying their lives, we're not really solving the issue. I guess there might be less people who make those same type of mistakes, maybe, but at the cost of it just being like compounded with fear and threats of like, if you even remotely step out of line, you'll just be destroyed. And you know who uses that is other extremist groups. They use that shit as a means to radicalize other people or to bring them to their other movement. You know, whether or not you think that's good or bad, that could be whether you're right or left, because it's going to be used for either or if it's done. And, you know, it just kind of, it doesn't promote anything. And a lot of people abuse the cancel culture. Like, once you are canceled, once you're viewed as someone who's persona non grata, that you don't get to change. You don't get to be a good guy. Almost anything that is done to you is excused by the fact that you're a shitty person. Recently on Twitter, I saw Keemstar had, I guess, from what I can understand, because Twitter is a horrible fucking platform for any form of discourse. From what I can see, Keemstar did something where he didn't credit someone or something for an art piece, or there's two apparent things. Either that's what happened, or he was getting fed up with a lot of people self advertising underneath his tweets. And it's a common thing when you have a popular Twitter and you're tweeting and it's being viewed by a lot of people try to self-advertise in there. It's the same thing that happens on YouTube videos and stuff. Anywhere that people are getting traction, people try to self-advertise all the fucking time. It's one of the most annoying things ever. But he made a joke out of it. And people were saying like, why don't you steal my art so that I can get famous too? Because, you know, if you have Keemstar wrong you in some way, and you make a tweet about it, and you get all the people who hate Keemstar because he's canceled and he's a horrible person and he's Nazi and he's this or that, tons of people will flock to your defense. Tons of people will give you all that sweet clout that you're totally looking for. But in this case, it wasn't that Keemstar actually did anything wrong in the tweet. The person in question literally tells him, steal my art and get me clout next, bestie. And so he literally comments to that person, I made this, thoughts. And it's just a picture from their Twitter. There's some sort of Twitter artist, and they DMCA'd him after telling him to do it. And like, there's so many people who, like, you're literally giving him permission to do it, and then you're using the copyright system. One of the things that YouTubers and Twitter people and everyone online have been raging against being broken and being super easy to abuse, you're literally abusing it. You're abusing it to attack this person after you told them to repost your art. And your excuse, and this is a common excuse whenever people are being called out, is oh, well, I'm just an 18-year-old, or I'm just an X-year-old, so it's okay. No, it's not. It's really dumb. Someone being canceled is seemingly an excuse to hate literally everything that they do, to use anything possible to go against them. And it's sad. It's sad and it's pathetic a lot of the times. And we excuse that art, or at least we excuse this behavior a lot of the times. And it's just something that should be called out. Now, do I think with my little mic here, I'm going to start some sort of movement that's going to change it? Of course not. Of course, it's not going to happen. Now, I typically love to argue for the underdog. I love to play devil's advocate. It's just what I do. It's what I live for. I love a good argument, and especially if I really do feel, that I'm correct, I'm gonna argue. It doesn't matter who it is. I've defended Jake Paul. I've defended Logan Paul. I've defended Keemstar. I've defended MatPat. All these people I don't necessarily like. Some of them I dislike. And I will defend them because it's dumb. It's dumb. If you see something that you think is wrong, if you think that it's not exactly right, that someone is being unfairly treated by Twitter at large, yes, you're just one person, but that little bit of people who are standing up saying like, hey, maybe that's a little bit dumb to try to ruin this person's life, or to take things this far because of a small mistake that they made, or it's not good to promote abuse of like the DMCA system, something that just destroys artists, destroys creativity, destroys all kinds of content because we just don't like this person. Maybe that's not something that we want to promote. And when you kind of step out and you are kind of making yourself a target, but once you do that, I guarantee you, there are so many people that probably have the same opinion as you, who probably are thinking the same as you, but don't want to say anything because they know how Twitter is, because they know how life is. They know that if you're going to defend someone like this, you're immediately going to be labeled X thing, whether that be a Nazi or a communist or something. And it's a pattern that we see all the fucking time. And I don't know why we as a society, I hate using that word because it's been so memeified, but have allowed it to get to this point, to the point where you need bills and legislations for it. It's really is just bullying in a sense. Again, some people deserve to get bullied. If you are a racist, rapist of some sort, you probably deserve to get a little bit bullied. But if you're just a kid who had said something years ago, or had did something that wasn't quite as bad, maybe not. And maybe we don't also believe like anonymous tips all the fucking time, but that's a different thing. Anyways, hey, that's just my thoughts, my little raw thoughts. Call me Chris Webby, I guess. And I hope you enjoy. I love your faces, so I hope you at least like my video. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next one. I've been like missing out on so many videos I wanted to do because I wanted to get this stupid shit for the avatar, the 3D avatar that I use working. Otherwise, I have to get into this really expensive, really uncomfortable suit to record and do the 3D motion, but fuck it. It will be done when it's done, or fixed when it's fixed. Yeah. So until then, I'm not gonna just not make videos like I've been doing. I'm gonna keep on making the videos, and I'm gonna keep on putting out content for you guys. So make sure you stay tuned. It's just gonna be normal commentary videos, other videos, anime-based videos, whatever the fuck I want to do. I'm no longer a professional YouTuber, so hey, welcome to my own personal shitbox. And I will see you guys in whatever I make next.